In a city in China that was never too crowded, there lived a boy named Wang Yiba. He did not come from a wealthy family. His house was simple, and the streets around it were filled every morning with the sounds of vehicles and small street vendors passing by. Yet behind that ordinary life, there was something different about him. Since childhood, Yiba rarely spoke much. He preferred observing the world around him. While other children ran around aimlessly in the afternoons, Yiba sat in front of the television watching dancers, singers, and athletes perform. His eyes always sparkled whenever he saw someone performing with passion. One day, his mother smiled and asked, "Why do you like watching them for so long?" Little Yiba answered softly, "Because they look alive." The answer was simple, but from that moment, his mother knew her son carried a big dream. At school, Yiba was not the most outstanding student. His grades were average. He also did not have many friends because of his quiet personality. But whenever music played or a sports competition was held, a different light appeared within him. He loved dancing. At first, they were only small movements he copied from television. But gradually, he began teaching himself. He watched videos repeatedly, memorized the movements, and practiced them late into the night. His father often saw the bedroom floor covered with footprints. "Aren't you tired?" his father asked. Yiba shook his head. "If I stop now, I'll never become as good as them." Yiba's childhood was filled with silent practice. There was no applause, no audience, only himself and a small belief that grew stronger every day. One day, the school held an arts performance. Many students sang or played musical instruments. Yiba signed up to dance. Everyone was shocked. Wang Yiba, that quiet kid. Some even laughed because they could not believe it. But on the day of the performance, the stage lights came on and the music began to play. Yiba stood calmly in the center of the stage. The next second, his body moved with extraordinary precision following the rhythm. The entire hall suddenly fell silent. His movements were sharp, energetic, yet elegant. No one had expected the quiet boy to hide such enormous talent. When the music stopped, applause echoed throughout the room. For the first time in his life, Yiba felt something he had never felt before. He felt truly seen. That night, he stood by his bedroom window staring at the sky. "I want to become someone," he whispered softly. And without realizing it, his long journey toward that dream had only just begun. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag a difficult road. Dreams often sound beautiful when spoken aloud. But once someone starts chasing them, reality shows a different face. Yiba began attending more serious dance training. He had to travel far from home to learn among people far more skilled than he was. There, he was no longer the talented child. He was simply one among hundreds of teenagers with the same dream. His days were filled with training. Wake up early. Study. Train again. Repeat movements until his legs felt numb. Sometimes his body was covered in bruises. Sometimes he fell asleep on the studio floor from exhaustion. His coach was famously strict. "If you want to succeed, don't expect mercy," the coach once said. Yiba remembered those words for the rest of his life. At the training center, many children gave up. Some returned home because they could not handle the pressure. Others lost confidence in themselves. But Yiba stayed. Not because he was the strongest, but because he was afraid of regret. One night after a long practice session, he called his mother. "I'm tired," he whispered. His mother stayed silent for a few seconds before replying, "If you're tired, then rest for a while. But don't give up." The sentence was simple, yet it gave Yiba strength. He began to understand that dreams are not about who is the most talented. Dreams are about who keeps walking even when everything feels difficult. At a very young age, Yiba had already learned how to live independently. He washed his own clothes, managed his own schedule, and learned to face loneliness. Sometimes he watched his friends go home with their families while he remained in the practice room. There was envy. There was sadness. But every time the music started playing, all those feelings disappeared. His body moved again, and his heart came alive again. One day, a talent scout came to observe their training. Every student tried their best to stand out. As usual, Yiba did not speak much. But when the music began, he danced with all his feelings. The talent scout watched him carefully for a long time. After practice ended, the man approached Iba. "You're different," he said. Iba lowered his head in confusion. "Not because your technique is the most perfect," the man continued, "but because when you dance, people can see your sincerity." Those words became the beginning of a major change in his life. A few months later, a huge opportunity arrived. He was offered a chance to join an entertainment agency. But that opportunity also meant one thing: his life would never be the same again. Entering the entertainment industry was not like entering a dreamland. For Iba, the industry felt like a vast ocean filled with storms. He was still very young when he began life as a trainee. His schedule was packed. The competition was fierce. Everyone was trying to become the best. There was no room for laziness. There was no room for weakness. Iba had to learn singing, dancing, speaking in front of cameras, and maintaining his appearance at all times. He often felt that he was not good enough. There were trainees who were more confident.
Some were better at speaking.
Others attracted attention more easily. Meanwhile, he remained quiet. Many people misunderstood his personality. They thought he was cold, arrogant, difficult to approach. But in reality, Iba simply did not know how to express his feelings well. Behind his calm expression, he worked far harder than people could see. He arrived earlier than everyone else at the practice room. He went home the latest. While other trainees rested, Iba continued repeating movements in front of the mirror. Sometimes coaches scolded him. Sometimes he was forced to repeat a single movement dozens of times. But he never argued. He simply stayed silent and tried again. During those times, there were many nights when Iba cried alone. Not because he wanted to give up,